What if Ogerpon was in Gen 1 OU? This is a Pokemon that a lot of you have probably been looking forward to for a really, really long time. Look at its moveset. Do you understand why it took so long to make this? Ay, this is, Ogerpon does not have a good Gen 1 move pool. Holy crap. Along with the moves you see on screen, it has, like, Sword Stance, I guess. But it only has normal and fighting moves, since, you know, Grass is a special move in Gen 1 OU. It has Solar Beam, I guess, so they can take advantage of growth that way. Or maybe use the very dangerous Vine Whip. Oh no! It's bad. I didn't even show it, but it also has counter. It's just so bad. Like, it's hilariously bad. And if you don't believe me, I'll just show you myself. Like, I usually don't bother showing, like, the move pool anymore, since one commenter, like, brought up how it normally just shows nothing but illegal moves. But look at all this. Look how many of these are just not from Gen 1. Not even Mega Drain, Giga Drain. There's actually a lot of Pokemon that have Giga Drain, but not Mega Drain. It's weird. But yeah, there's just nothing. There truly is nothing. It's so unfortunate. Because I know a lot of you guys were probably looking forward to Ogerpon. And it's a popular Pokemon, and I can understand why. I think despite how strong all of them are, especially Hearthframe, I do think it's one of the few, like, decently designed Gen 9 Pokemon. But can we make this work? Technically, yes. For starters, Ivy Cudgel is a auto crit since it has the exact same speed stat as Tauros at 110. So 100 base power move being an auto crit, that's really good. Keep in mind Kingor has 50 base special, but Kingor's Crap Hammer hits hard. So it'll be the exact same thing here with Ogerpon. That's already a good start. And unlike Palkia, whose auto crit move had the exact same base power, with Ogerpon only being at base 60, it's not really a big deal. Like, you'll hit really hard, sure, but it's not gonna be overpowered by any means. Although with how bad the rest of the move pool is, I would say it would almost be worth it, and very Gen 1 coded, if it had one really busted move, and then 3 really crappy moves. Along with that, Ogerpon is just really tanky. Like, surprisingly tanky for that matter. 84 and 96 are pretty good defensive stats, along with an HP of 80, which is not bad at all. For Gen 1 standards, where everything has max DVs and max EVs, Ogerpon's tanky. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Okay, so, even if the move pool isn't the best, the main strength of Ogerpon will be the different forms. Because unlike in Gen 9, there's no team preview. So you truly have no idea which of the forms you're going to be going up against. And that's technically true. You could surprise them, and all of them do have their own merits. But there's one problem. Their signature move, as a lot of you would probably expect, does not work. And I'll show you exactly what I mean right now. So, like, this is how I usually make the replays. I'll challenge my alt to a game of Gen 1 custom games. So let's do that. Let's select this one here with the rock one. And let's fight in Gen 1 custom games. Okay, so we have Ogerpon, and we have Charizard. As you can see here, Ivy Cudgel. 120 power. That seems pretty good. And against a Charizard, that seems like it's probably gonna Oko. But notice anything wrong already? See how it's listed as a special move? That's because Ivy Cudgel is originally a grass move, which will make it a special move. So already this is pretty weird. But you're gonna see that this is just a lie. Critical hit. Resisted. Very unfortunate. Charizard isn't having a good time either. I think he's an idiot and he forgot he can't use Sheer Cold in Gen 1 OU. That's a shame. But yeah, as you can see here, it just resisted. Quad resisted, which it shouldn't be. So even though it doesn't show it, this is a grass move. And it's not even 120 base power because the mask is included. So it'll just be 20. That sucks so much. Because it really does kill most of the viability for any of these forms. So let's just start with, like, now that we know that's how that works, Hard Flame you can immediately disqualify. Because the fire typing does not help it defensively. The only thing it might do would be helping it resist like a Fire Blast from a Moltres or Tauros. But that's super uncommon and not at all worth it. Not to mention you're weak to Blizzard, which is just awful. This is just pure grass. Literally all of them are grass. And the good thing about the grass type is your resistance to ground. Which all but one of these are actually no. I guess two of them are only neutral to ground, aren't they? Okay, so there's a benefit with that. However, you're still weak to ice. So just there's no reason to really use the Teal Mask, whatever. That means there's only two you really want to consider. With the rock one, this one is good because it gives you that really valuable normal resistance. And unlike the other three, you're not weak to Drill Peck. You can't really hurt Zapdos outside of like maybe Sword Stance and a takedown or a critical takedown. But if you're having to resort to that to beat Zapdos, I'm just gonna give you a spoiler, you're losing either way. And you're still weak to ice. So even though the normal resistance is interesting, it's not going to really help you. As you've probably noticed, there's one form I've been avoiding, and that's because this is the one we're going to see for the majority of the video. But Wellspring is by far the best one, because Water Grass is just a good type combination. You have a quad weakness to water. That's already just really nice to have. You're not weak to ice. You're not weak to electric. It's like taking both those neutrally, that's really good. Because of just how tanky your stats are, you tank psychic and normal moves pretty well. So this is like just the best one by far. The only thing you're weak to is Zapdos' Drill Peck. And like I just said, you're not beating Zapdos anyways. So yeah, for all intents and purposes, Ogerpon, like Wellspring, doesn't have any weaknesses. Which is great for bulky stats, and for good sweeper stats. So now that we know how Ogerpon works, will it succeed? It's hard to say. I think it probably would, because IV Cudgel hits super hard, and its other moves are usable. It's not like they're just completely worthless. They do a lot of things that some other Pokemon do, but better. Like for example, you have Double Kick. Jolteon uses Double Kick, but it's almost a meme and just a movie use because there's no better options. Because Pin Missile is absolutely worse than Double Kick. But here's the difference with Ogerpon. It might not be faster, meaning its crits won't be as good, but it has an actual attack stat at 120. So when Ogerpon gets a crit, it hits way harder than Jolteon's. Not to mention, it's just decent damage on Chansey all around. For Well Kick is another move you can consider for the flinch chance, but I think that's more so just being funny than anything, not really worth it. But a super effective Well Kick already hits more than a neutral Earthquake. Or not more, it's like relatively the same. So that means Double Kick does a little bit more than Well Kick, but it has the added benefit of getting a crit just doing a really good damage. So yeah, that's not that bad. Leech Seed it's really sad to say, but it's by far your best way to fight Pokemon such as Gengar. And it could potentially be the thing that saves you if you're fighting like a Snorlax and it paralyzes you. Does that sound like a gimmick? Yeah, it does sound like a gimmick. Not sure why. You'll have to let me know in the comments why it might sound like a gimmick. What I do know is that you might as well use it. Now, Plausible, one of my council members, tested out Ogerpon yesterday, because I was going to make this video yesterday when I thought all of the forms acted very differently, but then I called off the video once I realized, like, you know, it was just a lie. They tried using substitute. And I can absolutely see that because of just how bulky Ogerpon is. And I'm sure there's arguments for Sword Stance as well. You probably get rid of Leech Seed, and then with Double Kick, take down Sword Stance. I can see decent damage with that. But for me, for the replays, I usually have like Substitute as its main fourth move. But after some execution with some of the other Pokemon, I think Takedown is probably the best thing you could be using here. It is 5 base power stronger than Body Slam, so that's technically something, where you're replacing a 30% chance to paralyze with a recoil. Oh, by the way, not sure if you noticed, it doesn't get Body Slam or Hyper Beam. How pathetic. But yeah, it's very interesting. I think that's the best way I can describe Ogerpon here. If it's good or not, just completely depends on, like, your team, which form you're using, because I guess you could use the other forms just to throw people off, or if you need just a specific counter to, like, a type or move. Like, if you need another normal resistance, sure, go for the rock one. Especially you already have some good, like, ice resistance, I guess. If you really need, like, that fire neutrality, for whatever reason, you can go for Heart Flame. It's up to you. The sky's the limit. But I think Wellspring would probably stay in OU. I wouldn't be surprised if, like, the rock form, like, also stayed, but was very niche. And by niche, I mean way worse than both Swellbro and Victory Bell. And then the other two I see drop in the Underuse. And in Underuse, I think they would do incredibly well. Like, I don't know if they would get banned. They very much could. And Borderline I would be surprised with, but no matter what, I don't think they'll be bad. Not necessarily because there's a lot of water types in Gen 1 Underuse, because there's just as many normal and, like, fire types and whatnot. Or not so much fire, but you get the point. But they're just good all around. I think that's enough stalling. Let's just get into the replays now, shall we? And by the way, if you enjoy these videos, not only do I host tournaments, like in my Discord server, based off these what-if scenarios, which is the cool place to hang on in general. So, join the Discord server and like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps out a lot. The first up, we got Tauros. Both of these two having a speed tie is really great, but one of you hits way harder than the other. Tauros can also get crits, but I just don't think it's worth it. Tauros gets 2-shot, and Tauros is way too valuable to really risk in a match like this, where you need to get lucky. Well, Ogerpon's quote-unquote luck with crits is always guaranteed. You don't really see that a lot. Next up is Snorlax. Didn't bother showing Amnesia Lax, as you can imagine, always a crit just kind of hard counters that. Well Kick is funny, but I just don't think it's really worth it. Double Kick, I would say it's worth it, but I do think it's probably better just go for Ivy Cudgel. That's doing just really good damage around the board. The only reason Ogerpon didn't die here is because it used the Leech Seed, but to be honest, it's probably better just going straight for Ivy Cudgel, or maybe not, I don't really know. All I do know is that it's a pretty good fight between Snorlax and what's it called, Ogerpon. It can go either way. And this is another replay where I didn't play optimally, just wanted to experiment. And doing 25 to Chansey is honestly still not very good, but there can definitely be worse. But as you can see there, Double Kick is legitimately good damage. And if you're paralyzed, Leech Seed could be a way that potentially help you stay in, since Seismic Toss does do decent damage to you. But yeah, if you get a crit, a Double Kick, it just does really good damage. Like, you'll see right here. Like, there's a crit, and just one of those is doing 40 damage. Doing 80% to Chansey on a non-stab move is just insane. I thought this was going to could go either way, but I honestly think with Double Kick, it's just a good matchup. I would not expected that, since despite Ogerpon's stats, it's primarily a special attacker. Next up is Alakazam. And with paralysis, recover, and psychic, and with better crits than you have, Zam is definitely a huge threat. The high special also means you don't get a consistent 3-hit KO, which sucks. But you're still pretty tanky, and you do hit Zam hard. And because if you always get your crit, in some ways you don't care as much about the special drop. So I would say this could go either way. But one that is absolutely in Alakazam's favor. Still, that's better than a lot of other Pokemon have. And then this one, Cloyster. Yeah, it's a battle. It is definitely a battle, as you can see. It was only one turn, but that technically is enough to make it a battle. It might look like you're just grinding like a wild Pokemon and one-shotting, but yeah, Cloyster had a chance, trust me. Alright, next up, we have Executor, and there's a crit takedown. It does a third. And I guess since Ogerpon's tanky, you can maybe try to rely on that. But why would you want to? Just genuinely. Like, Executor just kind of hard stomps. But I do think takedown is needed just for doing some decent damage here. I don't think conceding the match and going for substitute's really worth it. But that is just my opinion. And here's like another funny one. You need Leech Seed to do any damage to Gengar. But since Thunderbolt only does a 4th, and there's a small chance it does 24, meaning a very, very small chance that Substitute doesn't break, you're probably not going to win in any timeline, but it's very funny knowing that you can annoy the heck out of Gengar. That is worth it, I would say. But yeah, with these two having a speed tie is also just annoying. More so for Ogerpon. I think Ogerpon would rather it can just plan to either go, like, be faster or slower. And to be honest, with Substitute, it might prefer to be slower, but I don't really know. The point is, Gengar always wins, and there's not much you can do for that. Jolteon's interesting, because obviously Ogerpon doesn't like being paralyzed. But with it being tanky, it can do decently well. But since it's, like, bulky in of itself, like, to my surprise, Jolteon kind of looks like 3-hit KO'd, maybe 2-hit KO'd with a range. So it's kind of weird, like, both of them have a pretty good shot against each other. And no matter what, it probably ends with Ogerpon being revenge killed. So it could go either way, but I'm not sure if I was expecting that or not. I always forget that Jolteon can be surprisingly tanky in the special side, just because of how the special stat works in Gen 1. Next up is Jinx, and here's another one where both surprisingly 3-hit KO each other. I don't have much else to say. Like, I guess technically Jinx might have a better chance if it crits, or if it gets a special drop or a freeze. But Ogerpon's still faster, so I think it might just be fully even between the two. And I didn't check the damage range, but it's possible at some point it might be better going for takedown. But I'm going to assume that's not the case. Now for Rhydon here. Technically, it struggles. But hypothetically, if we were to give it Sap Sipper along with Mega Horn, it would do exponentially better against Ogerpon, to the point where the matchup against Rhydon would be unwinnable. Makes you think, doesn't it? It probably doesn't. Sorry. Alright, next off, we have Slowbro. I have a lot of these. We're just crit grass move, beat the grass fake Pokemon, profit. I wish I could say something here, but I can't really. Like, what do you expect me to do? Like, cheat and give Slowbro Drill Peck? What do you think I am, some kind of weirdo? Nah, don't be ridiculous. Next off, we have Starmie. And this is technically the same thing with some of the other ones like Cloyster and Slowbro. But this one's actually interesting because it's Starmie. And Starmie is actually one of the best Pokemon in the game. And this right here is probably a good reason for why Ogerpon would be in OU. Being able to OHKO Starmie is just huge. And I'm pretty sure even Victory Bell's Razor Leaf can't do that. Speaking of which, let's actually go over Victory Bell. For once, there's a grass type that Victory Bell is better than. Like, this is the first time I had it on a winnable matchup for Victory Bell. It's awesome! Victory Bell's actually doing something. It's not just being a complete waste of time. Isn't that great? Have you ever seen Victory Bell, like, and anything better? It is a triumph mode. Oh god, it almost lost. That's pathetic. How the heck did this guy go back in the OU? I feel like I'm just so mean to Victory Bell in so many of my videos. But it's not giving me a reason to be nice. Look at that right there. It almost lost. If Ogerpon was using takedown from the very beginning, it probably would have won. What the heck? As you could probably tell, this was the replay that made me realize takedown needs to be a mainstay. We got one last one to go because obviously this is not Uber's material. Ogerpon would probably be good in Ubers. I can definitely see it being like Tauros as just a weed with immediate damage. In Ubers, I do think their performance would be more relevant, since the difference between Wellspring being hit neutrally by Ivy Cudgel and some of the others resisting it would be pretty huge. But for now, we have Zapdos. And with the only Pokemon that can hit it super effectively, and with Ogerpon not having anything other than takedown to hit Zapdos with in the first place, obviously there's nothing Ogerpon can do here. Zapdos just absolutely destroys. So yeah, there we go. We have one of the better Pokemon for Gen 9, but it struggles a lot. Struggles against all the Pokemon you see here, along with theoretically struggling against Rhydon. By the way, if you want a video where Rhydon had Sap Sipper or Water Absorb, let me know. We need to explore this part of the meta. But yeah, Ogerpon, it's fun, I'll say that. And to be honest, if I did Ogerpon before, I probably would have included it into Season 3 of Generation Jumble instead of Woody Koho. But I'll remember that for next time. What do you guys think about Ogerpon? Do you think it would be good in OU? Or do you think it would drop? It just won't be enough. Victory Bell and Executor are definitely better grass types, which I would not have expected to say about Victory Bell, since Razor Leaf just hits a lot, like doesn't hit you near as hard, I guess. We still have Pivoting and Sweet Powder and Stun Spore. Whatever. It was still a fun video. And be sure to join the Discord server. Season 3 of Generation Jumble is still going on. And probably tomorrow, I'm going to make the video on the Winners Bracket semifinals. And then, next day after that, most likely, I'll finally get to face Sotina in the Winners Bracket finals. Should be a lot of fun. And if you want to be in the Discord server, you might be able to watch the match live. You never know. But until next time, this is Groundback, and I look forward to hearing from you.